Welcome back to Black Star Dove. Welcome back to my channel. As always, I need you to hit me up with that HBO special, which is Help a Brother Out. I need 1,000 subscribers. It's free for you. All you gotta do, hit that subscribe button. I got more content. It drops every Wednesday and Friday. I'm always giving my opinion about something. I'm always trying to give some helpful advice. Go ahead and hit the subscribe. I need 1,000 subscribers so I can go ahead and start making passive income so I can feed my son. Well, so I can help feed my son. He's eating already. So let's get into the topic of this video. Ways to help you get that credit card that you may not know of. So people just think when it comes to getting credit, it's all about the credit score, which is true. All right, so let's say how I'm qualified to say some of these things. I have spent the past, technically 7 years. That's a long time. I may need to get into a new field. For the last 7 years for 3 different companies doing credit card fraud, approving credit cards and things of that nature. So I want to just talk about some of the things that go into it besides the credit score, because everyone just thinks, oh, I got this perfect credit score, or I got this good credit score. What else goes into it? All right, so location. Location is a major factor of how instant your credit card might get approved, or it might get sent off to look at for additional screening. High fraud places like Florida, Texas, New York City, most of those apps tend to get looked at by another individual because there's so much fraud that goes on in those areas that it's very unlikely to be automatically approved. Another thing, if your address has been reported previously as a fraud address outside of a apartment, which you would see, like some people will put a house and then put like a fake apartment number so that way they could try to trick. They will always look up the actual address first to see if it's an apartment. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that. So you want to look at the location. Another thing that is important, people really forget about this. I call it the 90-day rule. You want to have 90 days. So if that means that if you have changed your name, you got married or you just changed your name, you changed your phone number, you changed your address, that is not good for 90 days. So what you want to try to do, except for the name change, is try to apply before you change your number and before you change your address. A lot of people wait until they move into a new location and then want to apply for a credit card. And then, they get upset saying, oh, how come I got to send in documentation? How come I got to go through all this stuff? Well, you just changed your address. You was living here all this time. Now you just changed it to there. That is very highly suspicious. So now you got to prove yourself. And you haven't been there for 90 days. You only been there for a week. And now you're, sorry about that. Now you're applying for credit cards. And we can see that, like I said, I've been working for 3 major companies, but this is like standard across the board. When you apply for application of credit, they can see your history. Not only your credit history, but your actual history. Like when I type in your social, when I look you up, I can look up every single address you've ever been registered to that you put on applications and all that stuff. I can see every single address. That's why sometimes when they ask you those security questions, you were like, how you know about that? How you know about that? Well, I can see everything. I can see all your addresses. I can see every single car you had registered to your name. I can see all your phone numbers. So, just keep in mind that. Also, when you're calling in, this is only for the fraud department. No other department that I have noticed. The fraud department can see your full social. So like when people call into the fraud department, they're like, "Oh my God, I don't want to see my social. What if you what if you go happening?" Trust me, we can see your full social already. We just want to know you are who you say you are. That way, especially when it's time to do like those one-time passwords where they send you a code, all they're doing is taking your social, copy and pasting it, seeing what numbers match up. That's why sometimes they tell you we can't use that number because that number hasn't matched up or that number hasn't been on your file for 90 days. So that's how they're able to do that. Another thing, this goes hand in hand with the social. They'd be like, "Hey, you called my auntie, you called my cousin, you called so-and-so. How did you get their number?" Again, your number was once registered underneath them. So, sorry, your name was once registered to that number. So we can see that and they might call that. That's usually for like debt collectors. Let's see what else is there. Yes, for consumer alerts. All right, so there's 3 types of consumer alerts. Two of them really don't mean much. They kind of do, they kind of don't. You have the initial alert. That's where you first notice fraud, and they might put a little bit of a credit for you on there. And that was pretty cool. That's like standard. Same thing with the active duty. A little bit standard, but it's the, it's the big one. It's the 7-year one that people will forget about. That one you have to pay for. So when you have that long consumer alert, you put on some old number from like 3 years ago, you'll no longer have any attachment to that number. Now you're upset because you can't get approved. And there's usually certain ways that you can go around that. You usually just have to call the credit bureaus and then get that number updated. That usually takes between 5 to 7 days. I would say wait the full 7 days and then call back, because what happens is that's another credit pool. And if it hasn't updated by then, they just pulled your credit again for nothing. So they still have to wait until that the credit bureaus have updated your phone number, which I would say just wait the 7 days, and then they have to pull it again to get the phone number to call you. And most other cases, they will also allow you to go inside a location with 2 forms of ID. They're only doing that because by law, you have paid for that and you wanted your security protected to the max, so they have to. So a lot of people get upset because, they say, "Oh, why I gotta do all this?" I'm like, well, you paid for this. This is an alert where you wanted to make sure that we verified it was you before we approved this credit. So then the last thing is that be nice. Be nice. Like you don't understand how many times someone just being mean, they can make you go through so many loops. Like to the point where you don't even want to do business with them anymore. And that's kind of dickish on that person's part, but everyone's here is human. So if you call in being respectful, you'll get respect back. No one wants to try to make you do anything. If anything, they probably want to get you off the phone. So they're trying to do whatever they can to get you approved. You just need to continue to be nice. If you continue to be nice, I promise you they'll try to work something out. In the very, very worst case scenario, they'll just tell you the facts and some documentation. But yeah, these are other ways that you have to know about to be approved for credit outside of just your credit score. Other than that, take care, peace, I love you.